Hit the three dot. Start.
So yeah.
Good morning, everyone. This is the February 21st, 2025 meeting of the Tennessee Coast Commission. Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone made it okay today with all the bad weather. First item is the adoption of the agenda, and I'd like to recognize Ms. Nicely. She has 2 items that she needs to add to the agenda.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry, yes, Madam Chair, if you would mind entertaining a motion to have a settlement agreement continuing business with Kendrick v. Leftwood, and also a surrender agreement with continuing business with Jeffrey.
Okay, can I have a motion, please, to add those items to the agenda?
Motion to approve. Commissioner Beverly, second.
We have a motion to approve and one to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. So we want to add those 2 items to the agenda.
Yes, under new business, please, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Under administrative matters, if the director will call the roll, please.
All right, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Beverly. Present. Commissioner Doggett. Present. Commissioner Green. Here. Commissioner Jackson. Here. Commissioner Jeffers. Here. Commissioner Lane. Here. Commissioner Parton. Here. Commissioner Russell. Here. Commissioner Spangler. Here. Commissioner Wilbur.
Here.
Commissioner Wright. Vice Chair Carter. Here. Chair Faulkner.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Disclaimer, please.
All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve their own departments or some that they know personally. Because they've already agreed to do this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a conflict of interest, may have an appearance of impropriety, those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you very much, Director. Next, the approval of the minutes from the January 17, 2025 commission meeting. Hope you've all had an opportunity to look them over.
Motion to approve, pardon.
Do I have a second?
Second, that's fine.
All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item, report of decertification by the subcommittee, which was not held yesterday.
It was postponed yesterday, as was the rules subcommittee hearing as well, due to inclement weather.
Absolutely. All right. Hearing before the commission, waivers for pre-employment requirements.
Jackson County Sheriff's Office requests a criminal record waiver for Ryan Carmine Dubiel. In June of 2020, he was charged with simple assault in Camden County, New Jersey. February of 2021, he was found guilty of the charge and has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Who's appearing today from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office?
Detective Stanton, I'm the GDI.
All right, I'm sorry, did you get the name? Okay, thank you. I was making sure our court reporter got it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what can you tell us about this? We've seen the report online and we've looked at some of this, but tell us what we need to know.
I guess an incident took place in New Jersey where he was, him and another, I guess his patrol partner came upon a group of men after dark that they were occupying a space that they weren't supposed to be in. Multiple attempts were asked to remove the men, you know, in his official capacity as a law enforcement officer. Things got heated. Non-lethal pepper spray was used. Subsequently, two of the people that got sprayed filed complaints with the department. They did an internal review and found Mr. Duval guilty of assault, or found charged with assault.
All right, could you move the mic just a little bit closer to? Yes, thank you. That's much better. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So he was charged in court with simple assault in June of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the results of that was?
He was, I think he was charged with 2 counts, pled down to 1, sentenced to probation in New Jersey, transferred it down to Tennessee. His probation officer actually works with our agency, and he satisfied all the requirements with the probation and parole.
Okay, he's no longer on probation?
No, ma'am. He's currently employed by our agency as a corrections officer since about September. Has had no issues, no use of force issues. Been a model employee for us since that point, since we hired him.
Was he decertified in the state of New Jersey?
No, ma'am, he wasn't. I actually reached out to New Jersey to find out about his certification because he's not showing in the National Certification Index. So I reached out to the Attorney General's office up there. They stated at that time he was under a program that's different from the decertification program now. However, they did state that if he would have been under the new program, he would have been put up for decertification. They didn't have the capability to decertify him at that point, from their words.
All right, questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Spangler, I take it you went through getting him a waiver for correction, is that correct?
I cannot answer that. I don't know the process I don't deal with the correction side. I believe they did I'm sure they did a background check, just a general background check. That's about it.
This Commissioner Green,
Yes, sir.
do we know what the assault was? 'Cause it's not real clear in the narrative.
Use of pepper spray. I sprayed two different individuals, I believe, is what was told to me.
And how long was he an officer prior to this incident?
12 years.
12 years.
I'm sorry, did you say 12 years?
Yes.
Other questions?
We can have him come up.
Is he with you today?
He is.
All right, please step forward and identify yourself.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Ryan Dubiel.
Sir, did you go, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead, please.
sir, did you go in front of the TCI board to get a waiver
No,
for
sir.
corrections?
No, sir. I'm still in the process of my TCI. It's I guess like on the job training they stated, I've just satisfied my 16 hours. I still wasn't scheduled for my 2-day in-person class. So I've just been doing my classes, in between my shift work.
What else would you like to tell us about this incident that maybe we haven't heard?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to clarify a little bit about the case. So I just come off, I was on administrative leave. I was in a shooting in 2019 and we were short staffed. I was cleared in that shooting. It was justified. And the Attorney General gave me the go ahead to go back onto the street. We were short staffed due to COVID-19 at the time. So we got a call at the 200 block of Parker Avenue, which was a pretty active location for us. It was known for narcotics and sex trafficking. I was familiar with the individuals that date in question. That particular location, they were trespassing. We knew that they didn't have permission to be there. We had many calls. I think we had something in our CAD system like 150, somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 or more times to that exact location for narcotic sales. I was familiar with the individuals at the time. We had intel. We knew they had firearms. We knew they were selling crack cocaine and heroin. So when we went there, we simply just asked them to. We were going to ask them to leave like we've done in the past. Normally they run when we approach. This day we came from a different way. They didn't see us coming and we detained them, asked them to identify themselves. They immediately became combative, refused to ID themselves. One of the individuals, he elevated the situation. He started balling his fist. He approached me with a combative stance and then he pulled out his cell phone. He said he was going to call his friends to the location. I told him to put the cell phone down. Things escalated and I wound up, as they kept challenging us physically, I wound up deploying pepper spray. During the chaos, I think I sprayed 2 or 3 of the individuals as they were running in different directions. Some were running toward us, some were running away. Subsequently, I didn't know anything was going on with it. I went home after my shift. I filed my use of force reports. I did everything I was supposed to do. And then about a day or 2 later, I got a text message from a friend saying that I was in the news and I was charged with assault. I had no communication with the county prosecutor's office. They never contacted me. They never took a statement from me. From what I understand, I contacted my union attorney and he had one of the individuals hired an attorney and he went with an attorney with a news reporter to the local county prosecutor's office. They did file an internal affairs complaint with my agency, but then they went to the county prosecutor's office where they filed a complaint. And then the county prosecutor's office is the ones who actually charged me. And then I was officially told I was charged, I think 4 or 5 days later, I received a summons in the mail stating that I was being charged with simple assault.
Questions? Yes. There you
Commissioner Parton. I was looking through the dates of this. It's like this newspaper article came out around January 14, 2021. Is that on or about a week or day or 2 within this incident?
I believe June 2020 was the incident in question, and we didn't go to court until January of 2021.
What was during that time, what was the public's perception of law enforcement in your part of the world of New Jersey?
It was not a great time for us, to say the least. When I initially went back on the street after my shooting, that was right when the riots started in my region. I worked just outside of Philadelphia. So we were short-staffed because a lot of people quit. We had a lot of officer assaults. We had riots in the neighboring city. And I do feel that played a major part in the decision-making because my union attorney And then I obtained a private attorney who's now I tried to contact him. He's now the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Oklahoma. And he prosecuted use of force cases prior to me hiring him. And he said, listen, I used to prosecute these cases. There's just nothing here. I don't think there's any water to this. He's like, let's just get through it and you decide what you want to make of this. If you want to just resign and walk away from this, there's a lot of officers who were resigning at the time. And we just kind of pushed through. But when he spoke to the section chief of the prosecutor's office, she did advise him that basically I'm paraphrasing, but if this were 6 months ago, we wouldn't have charged him. But
So-
due to public outrage and the media pressure, they felt compelled to take action.
So would it be safe to say that we had some low-life crackheads that were trying to conduct business during a time and you were trying to do aggressive community policing and the media and the hype kind of leaned towards their side and not towards law enforcement?
Yes, sir. I think
And that
that-
resulted to you to be a victim of a simple assault case because you used spray.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Welcome to Tennessee.
Thank you, sir.
I might ask for a legal opinion on the voluntary surrendering of his credentials.
So that's what we're looking into right now. The way that the statute reads, it says that the commission shall not issue a certificate or otherwise certify a person who is decertified in another state if the person's decertification is the result of criminal or other misconduct. Prior to requesting certification for a person, the employment agency must complete a check with the National Decertification Index or other database as part of a thorough investigation conducted by the employment agency. In Tennessee, when you surrender your post certificate, we put that into the NDI. The fact that New Jersey didn't and that we don't have a copy of what that surrender paperwork looks like is kind of what I think might be flexing us as far as exactly what terms you surrendered under.
Yeah, I wouldn't really add any more to that. I mean, we could either commission can take a vote, or we can table it and bring it back. And I mean, I think that's practical matter. Probably be next month. We could be able to really, say one way or the other. But
It was my understanding from your supervisor that there was not an entry in the NDI for your surrender. Is that?
Yes, ma'am. There was no entry. The plea agreement originally was just supposed to be for the simple assault, and we didn't actually discuss the certification. The way I was told through the prosecutor's office when they spoke to my attorney that their way of decertifying at the time was felony charges. Felony charges automatically would take away, they called it a PTC certification up there. And they said that if I was charged with a felony, that would act as a decertification. That was basically their process. But that's why I felt like they were not sure about what they wanted to do, just to satisfy between the media and the public outrage kind of thing. They decided to go with simple assault, and they asked me would I be willing to voluntarily relinquish it. And I told them I was moving out of state and I had no desire to be a police officer in the state of New Jersey anymore. So there was no really discussion of a decertification. I said I'm going to move away anyway. I don't need this certification. It makes sense to leave and just surrender it. So they said, if you agree to those terms, how about you just take a simple assault plea, take probation, and give up your certification, and you just can't work in New Jersey anymore. And it sounded like a decent option to me because I had no intention on continuing to live there anyway. But they told me it was voluntary. They said they weren't going to pull the table off the deal. They just said, we'll stick with the simple assault plea. And if you'd be willing, would you be willing to voluntarily relinquish it? And I spoke to the judge and I said, I'd be more than happy to give it up since I wasn't going to continue to live there anyway.
So is your voluntary surrender listed in your court paperwork?
I saw it. I don't have the court disposition in front of me. I'm not 100% sure it's listed with my probationary paperwork. I do remember the original plea agreement was the probation, then the typical things that come with that, no contact with the victims, the standard stuff. But I don't actually remember if it said specifically about the certification in my court disposition paperwork. I don't recall.
Commissioner Beverly, I think it's on page 54 of our sentencing statement.
Commissioner Wilbur, the use of the pepper spray was not a violation of your policies, guidelines, or so it was not for a violation of that, it was for the offense of assault.
Yes, ma'am. I believe they changed the use of force policy in regards to pepper spray after I moved away, but I was well within the Attorney General's guidelines at the time.
So that page 54 just says forfeiture of public employment. It doesn't specifically speak to the certification.
Mr. Commissioner, pardon, I was looking at this, it's kind of odd. Simple assault, you was originally charged with simple assault, correct?
Yes, sir.
For the pepper spray, was no fist, weapon, foot.
No, sir, just the use of OC spray.
I think it's interesting that in the sentencing statement that defendant shall provide a DNA sample. This kind of shows you the differences in states. And on a simple assault, a DNA sample.
We were able to remove that when we went towards the sentencing. The judge agreed to remove that because I don't know how that got added. We weren't supposed to do that unless it was a felony assault charge, but I somehow added it to my paperwork, but the judge wound up throwing that out and I didn't provide a sample.
Any further guidance from legal?
Commissioner Green, and this is too legal. What he's describing, isn't that what you would normally do when you were negotiating the surrender for decertification? Do they voluntarily surrender it?
So the way we handle it here is a little bit separate from the criminal court process. So if it's a condition of your criminal court paperwork, then you fill out a separate agreed order with the post-conviction surrendering your certification. So we put that into the NDI. The situation with this case is that it's really not in the court paperwork, except for forfeiture of public employment. And there doesn't seem to be a separate forfeiture agreed order, where ours would say this is going, our agreed orders would respond and agrees that this will be submitted to the NDI as a surrender of certification to the city. We don't have that here. Dennis and I have looked at the statute. It's our opinion that this situation specifically, we don't think would run afoul of the statute if you guys were to grant the waiver. But that is based effectively on the absence of an entry into the NDI.
And then this would be for the sheriff's deputy. Did you check with New Jersey Post or whatever they have up there to see what his status, how it showed in their records?
I did. When I contacted the Attorney General's office, that's who handles like the post commission up there. He stated that there is no record of his certification on file anymore because they went from a antiquated system to a new updated system. So everything that was behind is just lost.
So in their system, it doesn't show whether he was decertified or was voluntary or anything.
No.
You have a question?
I do, my mic's broke. Commissioner Lane, was this incident on body worn camera?
Yes, sir.
So this video, did anybody get arrested that got sprayed that you were charged with?
Yes, sir. I arrested one of the individuals and I charged him with disorderly conduct. And then subsequently that was dismissed because I would have had to appear in court and I had moved at that point and I didn't appear. So they wound up dropping the disorderly conduct.
Okay. You said you had been a police officer for 12 years at this point?
Yes, I think 11, I was approaching my 12th year by the time 2021 came around. I was a part-time officer for 3 years and then full-time for 9.
Had any other use of force charges?
No, sir.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Was this the first time that you had ever deployed OC?
No, sir.
Right. And you'd always, like, how many other times had you done that in your employment in New Jersey?
If I did guess, maybe 10 times. by that point in my career.
You always had a use of force report that you filled out
Yes, sir.
afterwards.
Yes, sir.
Any other point of those times when you had used OC spray, or were you ever questioned or anything in regards to the charges that you had faced up there?
No, sir. Where I worked was very high crime, to say the least. It was along the lines of like a Memphis level crime rate. So it was pretty regular for us to deal with combative individuals, and we always filed our use of force reports and use of, we always looked at it as spray was one of the lowest forms we could use when we're engaged in, hand to hand with people, and always filed my use of force reports. There was never an issue that ever came up in regards to pepper spray before this. So.
Thank you.
Commissioner Beverly. And just so I'm understanding, you utilized pepper spray against someone who balled their fist up at you and were defying your commands, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you placed that person into custody after spraying them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Further questions? Do we have a motion? Oh,
Mr. Carter, just one question. The person that sprayed, was he injured?
No, sir.
He was not injured.
No, sir.
I'm just reading the final charges right here that maybe that's New Jersey's code. Simple assault purposely knowingly caused bodily injury. That's final charges. So I'm just, is that a standard code for simple assault?
I think that's how the statute reads. And we called an ambulance out. I mean, he asked for an ambulance, and we got in the habit of, with our department, we just called an ambulance out for decon. We had a garden hose nearby, so I took the time. I walked them next door to a neighbor's house. At that point, I had backup officers arrive, and they kept the crowd back. So I allowed him to use a garden hose to decon. And then the ambulance, I believe, I think they gave him a little more water, and they transported him back to our station. I don't believe he went to the hospital for any injuries. At that point, I removed myself from the scene because the crowd was getting agitated. So I had my backup officer stand by and decon him. I talked to him afterward at the station, gave him his summons, and he went on his way. He didn't, there was no medical clearance. He never went to the hospital. He was never admitted to the hospital for any injuries. I just think the statute reads that way for simple assault in New Jersey, so I think they just included it.
Okay, thank you.
anything further? Anything legal? Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Beverly, motion to approve.
Pardon, second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the waiver and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, the motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Knoxville Police Department requests a military discharge waiver for Christopher Allen Dixon, hired January 13th, 2025. In March of 2013, Mr. Dixon was discharged from the U.S. Army National Guard with a general under honorable conditions discharge due to unsatisfactory participation.
Is the Knoxville Police Department online? Or are you present? Okay, sorry, didn't see you.
Morning.
Identify yourself, please.
I'm Lieutenant Adam Minner, and am the training director in the police department.
All right, Lieutenant. It says for unsatisfactory participation, he received an under honorable conditions general discharge. What else do we need to know about this at all?
If it's permissible, I brought him with me.
Please. Identify yourself, please.
Ma'am, my name is Christopher Dixon.
Yes, so what happened?
Ma'am, I came back from Iraq. I was a single father, and I was not able to go to drill on a regular basis and work and be able to take care of.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
Ma'am, when I came back from Iraq, I was a single father to my one daughter, and I was not able to go to drill and work at the same time every single month.
So you missed drill?
The first couple were excused, and then after that, I was working in northern Oklahoma in the oil field, and I have a few drills that were unexcused absences that I was considered AWOL.
Other questions?
This is Commissioner Partner. Did I read that you're back in the National Guard here in Tennessee?
Yes, sir. I am enlisted in the Tennessee National Guard. I'm drilling out of Sweetwater, Tennessee, and that's where I'm currently stationed.
So how did they react to this, the previous discharge?
I did not have to get any special waivers or anything like that to be enlisted. They pretty much told me that that was handled, they would have handled it differently, and that I did have to get a waiver, so I did not have to go back to basic training, but no other special waivers that I know of. So
Okay, thank you.
Anything further?
Commissioner Green, I'd have to abstain from this and the one following it.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Lane, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Carter, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the waiver and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If it, Commission, as far as the next one for the Knoxville Police Department, as you see there that Mr. Hart was discharged general under honorable conditions, but the military later upgraded his discharge, and we received the paperwork for that on I think DD 215. That upgraded that to an honorable discharge. So we're actually striking the next one. That individual does not need a waiver for pre-employment because his discharge was amended to be honorable.
Was that by chance on one of those vaccination deals, something different?
I'm not sure of the exact circumstances, but the military did change his discharge, so there's no waiver needs for him.
Looked like PT failure.
Okay.
Did you hear a synopsis? Okay, it was granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Waivers to attend another academy. The South Pittsburgh Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Stephen Matthew Rollins, hired March 11, 2024. In July of 24, Mr. Rollins attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to medical reasons. The agency is requesting a waiver so he can attend Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy in May of 2025.
Yes, sir. Are you from the South Pittsburgh Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Please identify yourself.
Sergeant Ryan Meeks, South Pittsburgh Police Department,
Thank you.
GDI.
Anything else we need to know about this?
Officer Rollins was attending the academy. He was a single father, was having some issues at home while attending the academy. He had taken to the hospital for some medical reasons, some anxiety and other issues. This occurred a second time, and he's Officer Rollins is a really good officer. We feel that if we could get him in, transferred to another academy, that would be where he could come home at night to be with his child, that it would relieve some stress and he could be able to pass it and be an asset to our department.
Is he with you today?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Please identify yourself.
My name's Stephen Rollins, South Pittsburgh Police Department.
So you're trying to get him into Cleveland State, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Further questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Jeffers, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll never do that.
Carry yourself.
Trenton Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Billy Wayne Gibson, hired January 25th of 25. In February of 24, Mr. Gibson attended the Tennessee Highway Patrol Training Academy, but did not complete due to physical demands. The agency is requesting waivers so Mr. Gibson can attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in March of 25.
Is the Trenton Police Department online?
Yes, ma'am.
Please identify yourself.
Chief Bill Cusson, Cusson, Trenton Police Department.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else we need to know about this, the physical demands that this candidate had issues with last time?
He did, and over the last year, he has changed his eating habits. He has been doing all sorts of physical fitness to prepare him for the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, if approved in March.
Is that him with you, Chief?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you want to, for the record, identify yourself, please? But besides, there you go.
Yes, ma'am. Billy Gibson.
All right. You feel like you're good to go this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions from the commission?
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Beverly, second.
All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, chief, thank you. Good luck to you, young man.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, waivers of in-service. Clarksville Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Gabriel Howard, hired October 2nd, 2024. Mr. Howard did not complete the required training for the 2024 calendar year due to the time of hire. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with those guidelines.
This is Clarksville Police Department, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
I can't see you. Okay, please identify yourself. I'm sorry, I can't see you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. My name is Bo Skinner. I'm the lieutenant of the training division with the Clarksville Police Department.
All right, we got you now. Thank you very much. Anything else we need to know about this?
No, ma'am, he just got hired late in the year and we had already completed our in-services. He got hired November 4th, 2024. And by the middle week of October, we were done with our in-services. And he was due to start the transition academy at the end of November.
All right, so y'all squared away now?
Yes, ma'am, we've got him enrolled for in-service this year, so he's good to go.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Martin, motion to approve.
And a second?
Spangler, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Clarksville.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all had a hard time up there lately. We send our prayers to you. Hope everybody's recovering from the flood and all the bad weather.
Yes, ma'am, we're dealing with that currently. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The Neola Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Rafael DeGiorgio, hired December 18th, 2023. He did not complete any of the required training for the 2024 calendar year. The waiver would allow both him and the agency to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Okay, are you with us online?
Yes,
Yes, please identify yourself.
Brandon Jenkins, now the police chief.
All right, Chief. Anything you want to add to this, what we just said?
I started with Max in September. He was the chief of police here at the time, and he did his in-service, but he just never put it in a CADIS. He actually didn't put any of our training in a CADIS. I ended up trying to figure out or did it. So I'm not really sure why he didn't complete it. But I did work under him for around 2 months before he left.
How large a department do you have?
I'm sorry?
How many people do you have in your department?
Right now we have 2 patrol officers and me.
So, okay, all right. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, Commissioner Gordon, Bill, is this for him as an individual or is this for the city of Neola?
Just to keep the agency in compliance, former Chief DeGiorgio is no longer employed with Neola PD. And he's not employed anywhere currently, so according to our records.
And has the new chief turned the paperwork in, or can you see on the CADIS if there's been entries?
Yeah, to my knowledge, I'm not aware of any other issues with
For the department.
Correct.
Are you all squared away for this year, sir? As far as your in-service training?
Yeah, we're all caught up. Everything is good.
Any other questions?
Also motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Jackson, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Chief, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And Tennessee Office of Homeland Security requests a waiver of in-service for the officers listed below. They did not complete the required in-service training for the 2024 calendar year due to the time of hire. And you can see the list of names on the bullet list. This waiver will allow both the agency and the officers to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Madam Chair, I will be voting on them all except for Gary Allen Jeffers. I happen to know him, so.
Martin, motion to approve all included in the list.
You have a second?
Commissioner Green, second.
All right, for the record, would you please identify yourself?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Michael Simpkins. I'm the supervisory special agent of the training office for the Tennessee Office of Homeland Security.
So the motion passed. Oh, wait, we haven't voted. I had a motion and a second, so all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries.
Thank
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Trenton Police Department requests waiver of in-service for Drew Allen Maxey, hired August 28, 2021. Mr. Maxey did not complete the required training for the 2024 calendar year due to family obligations. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with those guidelines.
All right, is the Trenton Police Department online, please?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please identify yourself.
Chief Bill Kusan, Cusson, Chief of Police, City of Trenton.
Good morning, Chief.
Morning.
All right, so tell us what we need to know about this.
Yes, ma'am. Patrolman Maxey, at the time of our training, that was October 25th, 2024. He was in the hospital with his wife for the birth of their first child, and they hadn't been released from the hospital when the training took place. That particular day, we were doing the Milo simulator training, which is the 1 hour in which out of our firearms block that he missed. He did, however, complete 7 hours of firearms training, but was unable to make the simulator training. The next 2 months, November, December, there is no other explanation than to explain to the board that it was merely an oversight on the general department instructor and myself to see to it that Officer Maxey went back and we made arrangements for him to get the additional hour that he needed in firearms training.
Well, thank you, Chief. Is that Officer Maxey with you?
No, ma'am. I have my general department instructor. Officer Maxey is one of our SROs at the school. The email provided did not say that he needed to be here. I apologize.
Okay, I just didn't know who was with you.
Russell, motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Spangler, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Chief, again, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
The University of Tennessee at Martin Police Department requests a waiver of in-service for Geronimo Garcia Jr., hired January 29, 1996. Mr. Garcia did not complete the required training for the 2024 calendar year and is deficient 10 hours of training. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain.
Yeah, I just put this off.
I'm sorry, is you two Martin online?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please identify yourself.
This is Chief O'Neill. I'm the Chief and the Director of Public Safety. I also have Jerry Garcia on. He's on a separate Zoom, and I got my GDI, Lieutenant Odell.
All right, anyone have any questions?
Commissioner Wilbur, this is for a waiver for the department and not for the officer who it says he chose not to complete in-service training.
I believe that I can let Lieutenant Garcia talk on his own personal situation because he had a couple of issues that he can speak of. As far as the department goes, everybody was afforded the same opportunity for all their in-service training and their 40 hours of training. In fact, I think we averaged 111 hours per officer for training for the year, but Lieutenant Garcia had a few issues which he can speak of himself.
Okay, this says he didn't complete the required training for last year. He's deficient 10 hours. Is that correct?
Yes, he was deficient 10 hours of training.
Madam Chair, in the waiver request, the department submitted that I do not have a legitimate reason for this waiver. The officer chose not to complete in-service training. The officer is short 10 hours, which includes 2 hours of mandated firearms, EVOC, and field sobriety refresher. The waiver I'm asking for is the department being responsible for the officer's actions.
So is that correct? Are you there, Chief?
I am. I didn't submit that. And again, the department had all the training available and all the officers completed their training except for Lieutenant Garcia. Lieutenant Garcia, he is on and can speak on his own behalf on why he wasn't able to complete the full 40 hours of training.
Okay, I can't tell where he is on here, but Lieutenant, if you're there, please tell us more about this.
Yes, ma'am. I completed the firearms training. I don't know why my photo isn't showing up here, but
what I was missing was my EBOC, which I completed through the Tennessee Chiefs of Police Association training. I did it online, and there was no, when you complete that training, if there's a test required, they send it to you the following Monday. For some classes, they don't send a test. A test was never sent. I completed the EBOC training. And then they said that they were, for some reason, they were unable to send the test that time. And so it would have to be made up.
That you had to be in person on that at the TACP meeting, EVOC training.
You could Zoom in. You registered to Zoom into the meeting?
Yes, you could watch it, but you couldn't take the test because the test was given in person.
Correct, but normally what they do is send the test out the following Monday.
But they didn't this 2024.
Correct. So that is why they showed it as incomplete.
That's right.
The other 8 hours were through the in-service training for Tibers, as I do all the reporting for the department. I reached out to Steve Jan Carrick to send me a copy of the training certificates and had not heard back from him, which would make up the required 10 hours.
Have you done any of this to make it up, what you missed last year?
The EVOC, we reached out to, the chief gave me the phone number of, I believe it was administrative assistant there to find out what I could do to make it up, but I never received a response from her. I'd been in constant contact with the chief as far, he would ask me, have you reached out to her? And I would advise him no, that she did not contact me back, because from the chiefs of police perspective, the association, they just said, no, I couldn't make that up for 2024, whenever we were just going to, if whatever we found out, I was just going to make up the EVOC session.
Chief, how do you normally do the EVOC mandatory requirement for your in-service training each year?
We use Virtual Academy for all of the virtual based stuff. He and I had done the EVOC with TACP the previous year. And Lieutenant Odell is online. He can also, he's our GDI. He can also talk about the rest of the training if you would like.
It just sounds like he still hasn't made up those 10 hours.
Well, that, as he said, the EVOC, I believe he did TACP in December. Is that right, Lieutenant Garcia?
Yes.
And that's where we thought he had got the required training when he went to TACP in December, got his post hours, and then towards the very end of December, when everything was finalized, we saw that he was 10 hours short, and that's where we started reaching out to see why this EVOC specifically wasn't complete, and found out that he had only done it virtually with TACP a few months before, and that didn't count. By the time he was able to, as he was saying, get any further on it, it was already past the end of the year, and he's not able to make up what he had missed on that.
Sure where we are on this.
This is Commissioner Green. I have a question, Chief. How do your other officers get EVOC training? They're deficient.
No, nobody else was deficient. We had in-service training for everybody, was offered. So between our in-service in person and our virtual academy, everybody got more than their required number of hours of training and all of their mandatory training. Jerry is not speaking on it, but he also has had some family medical issues and has been in and out on FMLA quite a bit, which is why he missed that evac, because he was at the hospital the day that the TACP evac training was going on. So he had left to go to that, and that's interfered with quite a number of things with his training and with his duties. But now he's got family medical issues to deal with. So that's where that's been.
Commissioner Jeffers, how many different alternative ways are there to get EVOC training these days for your in-service members? I mean, can it be all online?
Asking me.
Or just,
so you can do it completely online through, there's different providers, V Academy, Police One. You can attend the Chiefs Association, the Sheriff's Association, if you attend those meetings. But, it is not hard to get the EVOC training because it is available. It sounds like Martin has, did you say V Academy, Chief, that you all utilize?
But it's a 4-hour block, correct?
Two. It could be more, but it meets the 2-hour minimum requirement.
We did it yesterday.
And you got a year, to get it done. Still.
I'm in December 31st.
Yeah, okay, just make sure.
I think for Lieutenant Garcia, it was a misunderstanding that he thought that he had it done, and when he found out that because he hadn't taken the test and doing it virtually didn't count with TACP, then it was too late for him to make it up, because it was there on Virtual Academy for him to do, but he thought he was good.
Chief, if I could ask you, it sounds like what you're saying is there seems to be maybe a misunderstanding here, but the paperwork that was submitted, do you agree with the wording that is in the waiver that was submitted? And if not, then, can you explain?
No, it's a little bit on the harsh side. The training was available for Lieutenant Garcia, but he did have mitigating circumstances for why he didn't complete it.
Martin wants to make a motion. I'll make a motion to keep the UT Martin Department in compliance, but yet deny Lieutenant Garcia.
Commissioner Green, second.
I'm sorry,
Second.
Commissioner Green, second. All right, everyone understand the motion?
Just clarification, he is not in compliance. He won't receive a salary supplement, but the department is good.
That is correct.
He would not receive a salary supplement anyway because they're campus law enforcement and are not eligible for the pay supplement.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Did you hear us, Chief?
Yes, I did. And I thank you for your time. We were going to be there in person, but between the weather here in West Tennessee and the flu, we ended up not being able to come. So my apologies for that.
I understand. Thank you, Chief, for your time, and best wishes to you and your officers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of 6-month rule. Laverne Police Department requests 2 6-month waivers for Karai Landers, hired July 8th, 2024. Ms. Landers is unable to begin training due to ADA accommodations. Ms. Landers is scheduled to attend Toledo July of 2025.
Are you online, Laverne? Laverne PD?
Russell, motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second.
Beverly, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Livingston Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Christopher Eric Dishman, hired September 23rd, 2024. Mr. Dishman began training at the Blount County Regional Training Academy in January of 2025, but was unable to complete due to an injury. Mr. Dishman is scheduled to re-attend the academy in August of 2025.
Is the Livingston Police Department online? Not seeing them.
Motion to approve.
Russell, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries.
Madison County Sheriff's Office requests 6-month waivers for the following officers who are unable to begin training due to class availability. Bryant Newell, hired August 19, 2024. He is scheduled to attend Toledo in March of 25. Christina Ferraro, hired September 30th, 2024. Ms. Ferraro is scheduled to attend Toledo in March of 25. And Peyton Doles, hired December 16th. He is scheduled to attend Toledo in July of 25.
Madison County Sheriff's Office online. I just want to recognize you if you are.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Russell, second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries for the Madison County Sheriff's Office.
Tipton County Sheriff's Office requests 2 6-month waivers for Brianna Nicole Donahue, hired July 2024. She is unable to begin training due to an injury. She is scheduled to attend Toledo once she is medically cleared.
Tipton County Sheriff's Office, are you there? You're not.
Motion to approve.
Russell, second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The motion carries.
On to the consent agenda.
Have you all had a chance to look it over?
Motion, Martin, make a motion to approve all items contained wherein of the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Lane, second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carried.
On to old business, discuss Rule 1110-02-032J, response from the Tennessee Department of Health's Deputy Commissioner and General Counsel regarding an LPC-MHSP's qualifications to complete psychological assessments to meet the requirements of post rules. I believe this will go to General Counsel.
So this was this came to full-time staff, essentially an inquiry about whether or not, I'll cite the title, I'll probably slaughter it, licensed professional counselor, mental health services provider, qualifications can conduct the mental evaluations that are not only pursuant to the rule that the Secretary just cited, but also pursuant to statute, pre-employment, that being Title 38, Chapter 8, 106. And so just to, it's the last paragraph, having been certified, the applicant had been certified by a Tennessee licensed healthcare provider qualified in the psychiatric or psychological field as being free from any impairment. So that's the phrase contained in the statute and the rule. And the individual who sought us out wanted to know whether or not the licensed the acronym, the LPC-MHSP are qualified to provide these mental evaluations for pre-employment purposes. And so we're reaching out to the Tennessee Department of Health and kind of getting an opinion from them. We posed the question as to whether or not an LPC-MHSP would be qualified in the psychiatric or psychological field as being qualified in the psychiatric or psychological field. The answer essentially was no, we don't think they are. And that's not necessarily like binding entirely on the commission, but so that we understand that's at least the best opinion that we can verify from someone in the Department of Health as to how that statute and our rule is interpreted. So that would mean that anybody who is one of those individuals would not be able to provide, and assuming that you all take that position, they would not be able to provide those evaluations, and only a psychiatrist or psychologist would be able to provide those. Understand, I think probably there's a number of folks who've gotten pre-employment packets in where you've had the LHMPC provide those mental evaluations. I'm not saying that those should be deemed to be incorrect. But we just kind of wanted to get the commission's opinion on, do we need to have psychologists and psychiatrists provide these mental evaluations going forward only, or whether or not the LPC-MHSP would be sufficient?
Well, Mr. Chairman, pardon, Mr. Gregory, would you want a paralegal representing you in the court of law?
No.
That's kind of where we're at with this, isn't it?
Right. I mean, and to the health Department of Health's opinion, they said, look, it is a bit of a gray area that they issue licenses that sometimes do kind of bleed over from one field to the other. But I think the reason that the individual reached out to us, who is an LPC MHSP, is that psychiatrists and psychologists are, I guess, are becoming hard to find to do these pre-employment screenings. So in an effort to help the agency, I think that's why the question was posed to us.
I can personally say, yes, it is hard to find doctors of psychiatry to do these psychologicals in my geographical area of the state, but there again, I don't want to risk across the state that we get a little less experienced person dealing with what we're hiring with today. And we've seen mental health as a major issue in our state. Mental health within law enforcement is an issue. We have to send employees to be reevaluated, it seems like, more often than in the past. And I personally would want the highest grade, highest level professional examining whether it's new hires or reevaluations that may have come about because of some kind of trauma within the department. Is my opinion.
And even the Department of Health said it becomes, where is it here? It could become difficult or is difficult to determine where to draw the line of mental health professional.
But, and that is very true. But what I see, my crystal ball down the road for this body, probably long after we're all gone, is we're going to put in an express lane of evaluations coming that may not be critiqued as thoroughly as they need to be on the individuals, maybe.
No, I agree. And I was bringing that up to support that point that, that can be blurred. And also, maybe some of these, I like the wording and the opinion there from them, that can be terms of art specifically. So
I think we're also walking a fine line on liability issues if we don't try to seek out the highest level we can for evaluations on our officers, both pre-employment and during employment. I know that my department, and I suspect for all of law enforcement, we're dealing with very complicated issues in our communities. And I think if we don't seek the highest level of counsel and evaluation, we get ourselves in a lot of trouble. So it's not.
I think until the legislature were to add that distinction in there, that I think we probably would be correct in including that it would only be someone who is a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist that can provide that examination.
Was this just information only? We don't need to take any action?
I don't believe so. It's just that we had an inquiry from the field and just I think just a way to sort of accommodate them, let them know for information purposes. This is where the commission stands on this. We can take a vote on it to clarify that, but I don't think it's required.
If I may, I think for our team, we would prefer a vote from the commission because we have received some of these in the past. And so to be able to say that it is the commission's determination then takes that away from it just being an administrative decision on the part of the people that review these, this paperwork on a daily basis.
Mr. Director, I'll make a motion that any psychological evaluations dealing with law enforcement applicants or reevaluations within the statute that are a requirement be from a doctor of psychology.
Psychiatry.
Psychiatry, I'm sorry.
Russell second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Does that help you, Mr. Secretary?
It does, yes, ma'am.
All right, next.
Continuing on with old business, the Washington County Sheriff's Office requests to rescind the certification for Joshua Allen Johnson.
Washington County, are you online?
I believe this is one that they asked to continue maybe March 21st.
Do we need to make a motion to continue it?
I think it'll be up to the commission.
Let's do that.
Motion to continue to March 21st.
All right, I have a second.
Beverly second.
All right, all in favor of continuation, say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries.
Very quickly, an update on the job task analysis. We're in the final stages of right now working with reviewing that with our general counsel's office and look forward to hopefully approving that very soon, but just wanted to keep that on everybody's radar. Of course, the research has already been conducted The document itself is finished. And the hope is that either in the March or the April meeting, we'll get Middle Tennessee State and the researchers that did that to be able to come and present the results of that to the commission. So just wanted to update everybody, let you know that it's still out there and we are working towards just some final improvements on that document.
Under new business, I know that legal has 2 items they want to do under new business.
Yes, Madam Chair. So the first one is a surrender by Jeffrey F. Butcher. Jeffrey Butcher was pending a decertification hearing since, I believe, 2018. He was accused of testing positive for outward and has agreed to surrender his post-certification.
So we need a motion to approve that. Is that correct?
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
All right, and a second.
Commissioner Jefferson.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is for Kendrick D. Leftwich. He has been out of law enforcement since October 31st of 2022. His informal commission meeting referred him to a formal hearing. We have him an offer of a suspension for 1 year. This would put him out past that 3-year date. It would put him almost to 3.5 years, where he would have to be hired by somebody coming from the commission to be brought off of that suspension and then go to transition school. The reasons that he was fired constituted violations of the general orders for providing false information during an investigation. The underlying facts there was a pursuit that happened where an individual had Mr. Leftwich's phone number, and Mr. Leftwich said something to the effect of, "Don't worry, I didn't tell them where you stay," or something like that. And then there was a few other aggregate factors that happened throughout. They kind of gave him a written warning. I think he did a 10-day suspension for that. And then there were a few other aggregate factors where his father was involved in a domestic violence incident and he helped the alleged victim load her car up before calling police. And then the police arrived on the scene. They realized one of our officers was here and didn't call the police. And then there was a third instance where a high person was at his mother's house and he called somebody from his agency that was a sheriff's agency instead of somebody from the city agency. And so they ultimately kind of determined he probably should have called an unbiased party instead of his own coworker. So that was the 3 things that ultimately led to his termination.
Wasn't that a West Tennessee agency?
I'm not, Sparta, I believe is middle.
Oh, it was Sparta. I recall that case for some reason.
He didn't work for Sparta, he worked for White. So we're proposing a 1-year suspension that would ultimately put him out of law enforcement long enough if he had to commit somebody to hire him for transitions.
Okay, so let's go to this loophole. So if he leaves the state of Tennessee and goes to
Anyway,
Mississippi,
Yes, sir. So he'll be in the National Decertification Index as a 1-year suspension. He'll also be listed in the CADIS as a 1-year suspension. And this paperwork would be signed and filed and uploaded.
it seemed like I was around during all that and I had some great concerns
Yes.
that he was skirting a lot of things.
Yes, sir. So he has not worked in law enforcement since this time. It's my understanding from his attorney that he's not currently working in law enforcement, doesn't intend to do that.
Well, they say that and then they pop up.
Doesn't intend to do that until the end of the suspension. At that point, he would have to find an agency.
So he's going into the national database.
Yes, sir. He'd have to find an agency that would be willing to read this and then hire him.
And as long as we do our part, and some of these other states may not, agencies may not look it up, but we did our part.
Yes.
And on the National Decertification Index with that suspension, even though it's a 1-year suspension at 15 months, if he has not reapplied for employment and this commission has not taken him out of suspended status, he will still be in the NDI as suspended, correct?
Yes, until he sought reinstatement and attended transition school, his status would be suspended indefinitely.
how long has he been out of law enforcement?
Since October 31st of 2022, so almost 2.5 years.
And then we give him a year, that's 3.5
Yes.
years. And then we say to go to transition school?
He has to come. Commissioner Beverly, he has to come back to us.
Right.
To start that, correct?
Yes.
Commissioner Beverly, motion to approve.
Russell, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed. I remember the case too. I had some grave concerns with it. I said, well,
Anything else?
Just the items on the agenda.
Agreed order of suspension for Henry Tyrone McGowan. Mr. McGowan was employed by the Laverne Police Department from May 11, 2004 until his termination on January 4, 2023 for violations of general orders and for workplace violence, sexual harassment, and truthfulness, department policies and procedures. Mr. McGowan has agreed to the temporary suspension of his post certification.
So this is a little bit of a unique case. I think you guys may have been here for the informal hearing with the chief. This is the other individual that the chief had been texting back and forth with at that time. So Mr. McGowan, had been out of law enforcement since January 4th of 2023. He was terminated then. The findings in the case substantiated that he received pictures from the female that was involved in the case. Also, there was a separate incident unrelated to the larger news story where he went into the HR office and allegedly playfully put his hands around somebody's neck. And then the truthfulness portion was where he tried to get on the same page with another person that was under the interview process for the internal affairs investigation. Tried to get on the same page with them to make sure that their stories were the same during the internal interview. This is a 1-year offer. The reason it's a 1-year offer is for the same reason that he would have to come back here to get off of that suspension. He would then have to go to transition school. If he could convince an agency to hire him, his paperwork would be in the file. It would also be entered into the NDI, and he has not worked since 2023. He is represented by an attorney. I can answer any questions that the commission has. This is one of 5 or 6 individuals that we're trying to weigh which ones need to go to a hearing versus which ones can be resolved.
Motion to deny.
Commissioner Beverly, second. And also to add to that, I appreciate the work you're doing, but I think the merits in this case need to go to a full hearing.
There are no other charges other than possibly taking somebody's life that could be more serious in our profession. Truthfulness being number 1. And so, yeah, I get it. I don't usually say anything, but, well, all right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries to deny.
And just so you guys know, I'm not emotionally attached to the it's not to move the cases along.
I got you.
Thank you.
All right.
You're not hurting my feelings.
Our legal team does a very good job for this commission, and I appreciate the way that these agreed orders are weighed by members of the commission. Moving on to annual academy reports. The following academies request approval for their 2024 annual academy report: Knoxville Police Department, the Memphis Police Department, and the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy.
I have a motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, thank you.
Maynardville Police Department requests approval for late submission of their 2024 firearms in service lesson plan.
Are you online, Maynardsville Police Department? Oh, I can see you. I can't hear you, sir. There you are. I still can't hear you. Unmute.
There. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Tell us about your firearms lesson plan.
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair. This is totally my fault. I thought it was, I hit the submit button and it had not been submitted. All the other training, everything was completed. The firearms was completed. When I went to submit the salary supplement for the 2024 years, when I realized that it was not, had not been submitted to the post commission for approval. And that's when I reached out to find out what I needed to do to get this approved.
Have you sent it in?
Yes, it was sent in.
Are they squared away?
It's just waiting for the post commission to get approval so we can move that forward in the process to then complete their salary supplement.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Russell, second.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye. Any opposed, no? All right, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, the reason you're gonna see some of these is that we give a grace period at the end of the calendar year for agencies to get their training lesson plans submitted. But if they go past a certain point, we want the commission to hear it and to give us the permission to go forward with that. Trying to stop some, maybe as an incentive not to come in front of the commission, get your training turned in as close to the end of the calendar year as possible.
All right, did you hear that, Chief? Did you hear us okay? All right, the other guys. Who's with you there? Who's the bobblehead over there?
It's over the refrigerator now.
All right, thank you.
Post-investigative report, post-investigators to report findings on the Henry Police Department in conjunction with the latest submission of pre-employment paperwork for William Timothy Reeves.
All right, is someone, oh, you're going to speak to us. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin Street, Post Investigator. This started out as an audit investigation to Henry Police Department. Legal initiated an investigation into their department regarding part-time employees and training records. I did pay a visit to Henry Police Department and met with Chief Reeves. At the time of the meeting, their police department was in a relocation phase. It was in 2 locations. It was at its old location and a new police department. And I was there to do inspection of their training records. It was kind of a mess to find the training records. There were some at one location, some at another location. We were able to get some together. I was also looking at pre-employment packets of part-time employees and stuff like that. Chief Reeves gave me everything he could find. And then we initiated emails back and forth for several weeks. And he did provide more documents to me because at the time of the visit, a lot of the documents weren't available or he didn't know where they were. I believe the old chief also had some training records on his personal files. And we did get most of those records sent to us. His part-time employees, the pre-employment were squared away on his part-time employees, except one of his part-time employees was actually the mayor also of Henry, which I'll leave that up to you guys if that was a conflict or not. The mayor did not have pre-employment done. He didn't have a psychological done and stuff like that, as he was a part-time reserve officer. The chief wasn't aware that that information had to be turned in as he was initiated and sworn in. He's direct now on when those records have to be turned in and pre-employment has to be done. All that information was completed on that reserve officer. And that reserve officer, who was the mayor, has since resigned as a reserve officer and also resigned as the mayor of Henry City. There was also an issue with one of his part-time employees, Whitney. Let me make sure I get the last name proper. Sutherly. I did an audit of her last 3 months of training hours. Not training hours, sorry, work hours. And she was in 2 of those months out of the 3. She was working more than 100 hours per month. And post rule stated you have to work as a part-time employee less than 100 hours per month. So she was working at 2 of those 3 months that I audited. She was working full-time hours, more than 20 hours a month. In defense of her, she has gone through the police academy and is in 2023. She went through the police academy here at Toledo, but she is considered a part-time employee and was a violation of the post rules. One other thing was Chief Reeves himself was a part-time employee. I believe he got hired in July of 2024 as a part-time chief. His information was not properly sent to post for his pre-employment. And since then, he's also transitioned to a full-time chief of Henry Police Department. And there's a lot of going back and forth between post employees with getting his pre-employment turned in properly in Acatus to show his records in Acatus. As of right now, he is still listed in Acatus at Hollow Rock Police Department, where he was the chief back in 2023, 2024 area. So his pre-employment was not turned in properly on time. It's been past the 6-month window. One of his part-time employees is working full-time hours. I spoke to Chief Reeves about that, and he actually initiated it. What if I make her full-time in the system? That would resolve that issue if he made her full-time and she worked more than 20 hours a month, 20 hours a week, or 100 hours a month. That would make it not in violation of post rules, and it would also get her a salary supplement check. So that's what we suggest him to do, is put him in a CADIS as a full-time officer. And the training records, I suggested to have all in one location, which hopefully it is now, since the police department has moved. And also the part-time employees, just to get them in a CADIS too, just so we have a better track of their records and training hours and stuff like that. So those are the 3 issues that were brought forward to the commission today.
Thank you. Chief Reeves, is that you online?
It is, Madam Chair.
Okay, could you hear the report, sir?
I did, Madam Chair.
All right. Do you have any further information for us as far as your ability to get everything squared away as recommended by the Post Commission?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, as the investigator noted, I was hired in June as a part-time chief and did not move to full-time chief until September. At the time period, Dr. Tharp was the acting chief for 2.5 weeks. He submitted everything being the chief, and I was just interim chief. Then we found out that that was not supposed to happen. I submitted it to our mayor at the time. He submitted application. And of course, as the investigator has noted, he has since left the mayor's position. And then when I found that out, the new mayor, old mayor, and all of us submitted another application.
Okay, of the 3 items that the investigator presented, have you satisfied all of those for the Post Commission?
So as you hear in the background, we're still in the process of moving into our new office. Yes, I'm looking to put Officer Subley, who completed the basic training full-time, as a full-time officer, and this before our committee to be approved.
Can either one of you advise us on where they are if they've satisfied these guys?
So I checked the CADIS this morning, and he's still listed at Hollow Rock Police Department as the chief of Hollow Rock, which was his previous employment prior to Henry. I do not know if there's anything pending in the system where submissions are sent in, but as of this morning, he's still listed as the chief of Hollow Rock Police Department. So in post eyes, if say Chief Reeves was a full-time officer with Henry Police Department the whole year, we still have him in the system in Hollow Rock Police Department, and he would not be eligible for a salary supplement because we thought he would be with Hollow Rock Police Department, not Henry Police Department. So it creates a lot of issues on our end. I don't know if there's anything submitted or anything pending with his pre-employment packet at this time, but there's nothing approved and nothing in a CADIS that's accepted.
And also, Madam Chair, we've had a CADIS here. It's just my clerk has had it and I have not had it. I've not had a CADIS here at Henry.
Are you the chief of Hollow Rock and Henry Police Departments?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
You're doing both of them.
I'm sorry?
You're chief in both locations.
Yes, ma'am.
Full-time
Just
chief.
part-time in Hollow Rock, full-time in Henry.
So it's not a violation of the rules. There's no, in the post rules, there's nothing that delineates like you can only be an executive at one agency. It would be similar to a full-time officer working for example, a sheriff's office and working part-time for a city.
What, Chief, this is Commissioner Barton. What county are you in?
What town am I in?
Yeah, what
county?
County.
In Henry County, yes.
You're in Henry County. Do you know, I take it you know your sheriff in Henry County?
I do.
And you're probably chief of two small departments. How many officers are at Henry?
Okay, in Henry, I have 5 part-time officers. In Hollow Rock, I have 1 part-time officer at this time.
Okay, you get along with the sheriff's office up there pretty good?
Yes, sir. I just got to work with them last night, so.
Okay,
all the
would
duties and stuff.
you take some friendly advice here?
Yes, sir.
Go get with the sheriff and get with his GDI and let them come down there and help you sort this cicada stuff out.
Okay.
And get somebody from the sheriff's office to come in there. I think that would be a good, community service for the sheriff of Henry County to send somebody down there to help you get this cleared up, because you're drinking from the hydrant here.
Thank you.
The fire hose.
Yeah.
Who is the sheriff up there?
It's Josh. Who?
Josh Fry.
Josh Fry, that's right. Good man. And tell him the post commission sent you up there.
Okay, I sure will.
All right.
All right, I think we need a motion on this.
Commissioner Beverly, I think a motion that we get an updated report next month on the status of all this.
Do we have a second?
Second. Commissioner Jeffrey.
All in favor of the motion? Did everybody hear the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, did you hear us, chief?
No, ma'am, I did not.
All right, we're going to expect an update in our March meeting on where you are with these recommendations from our investigator. And that gives you time to get with Sheriff Fry to get your ACADIS and post-commission business squared away.
Okay, Madam Chair, will I be getting ACADIS here?
You can, but you need to go up to the sheriff's office and see how they're set up, and they can walk you through that. And I think it will help you flow a lot better.
Thank you. And I would like, if I get ACADIS here, for somebody from the sheriff's office to come here and sort of help here also.
I think sheriff up there will be very accommodating. He's a good fella, and I will, when I see him, I'll follow up with him and say, hey, go down there and help the chief a little bit. Do us a favor.
Thank you.
So for clarification, Chief Reeves does have access to ACADIS. The problem he's going to run into is that ACADIS will only let you submit for one agency. So he'll have to find somebody to serve to one agency or the other to help him with ACADIS, because he can't submit. ACADIS will let him submit for 2 agencies at the same time. You have to pick a primary.
Could you hear that, Chief?
I did. And I do have a clerk here that helped submit ACADIS.
I would say probably the recommendation would be that where you are full-time, that needs to be your primary ACADIS access. So for Henry PD, and then find somebody at Hollow Rock that can take care of that for you there, because your full-time responsibility is the Henry Police Department.
That's correct, sir.
And I hope you get moved in soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other business, public comments or anything else? Thank you.
I will say I did get to meet the chief on my trip around Tennessee, and he did tell me that in the town of Hollow Rock, there is actually a Hollow Rock. So, which is interesting. I did look that up, chief, and looked interesting.
And y'all are welcome to come down and see the Hollow Rock at any time you wish.
Sounds like he's chairman of the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, chief. We have no public comments on the, or nobody here for public comment. I do just want to recognize Mr. Stiles from the Municipal Technical Advisory Service, MTAS, for being in attendance today. So I know that you've been trying to get to some meetings, and he'll be a regular face here, but MTAS and CTAS both do an excellent job advising our municipal and police departments and county sheriff's offices. So that's all I have. And
I think you got one new welcome.
Oh, yes. How could we forget? We have Representative Clay Doggett joining the commission. We should have done this at the beginning with the role, but just want to welcome Representative Doggett, who has law enforcement in his background. He's been appointed by the Speaker of the House to serve on the Post Commission, and just want to welcome him. And if you would just tell us a little bit about yourself and let everybody welcome you to the commission.
Thank you very much, Clay Doggett. I was hired at the Giles County Sheriff's Department by the former Sheriff Kyle Helton back in 2010 and spent, excuse me, about 5 years there. And was elected to the General Assembly in 2018. So it started in 2019, chaired the Criminal Justice Subcommittee for the last 2 sessions, and so 4 years there. It's a great honor to be placed on this commission.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Jackson's got a.
I have had the pleasure of working with Representative Doggett on the other side in the Senate, but we're lucky to have him here. He's a good man, and he'll do a great job with the Post Commission.
Great. Very quickly, can I just get an informal poll of who's planning to stay for the formal this afternoon? Okay. That's should be 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'll be
9.
Don't change your mind at lunch, please.
Any other business?
Yes, quickly. When we did our calendar, there was an oversight. The June date falls on the state holiday for Juneteenth, that Friday. So we'll probably need to move that June date. We can do that today or at the next meeting after. We just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. We got some time to kind of rework that, so.
And, Madam Chairman, members of the board, I'd be remiss in saying we lost a sheriff this week to an illness that he fought bravely, but Morgan County Sheriff Potter, keeping him in Morgan County. They've had tornadoes and all this going on, and those folks up there, and I know Sheriff Potter was well thought of, but they're keeping his family and his department in your thoughts and prayers. His funeral is tomorrow in Fort.
Thank you for bringing that up, and peace would be with his family and friends and his agency. The June meeting was originally set for the 20th. I know the 27th is the TACP meeting, so I'm not sure when you want to do it. Friday the 13th.
Sure.
Would we want to do that on a Friday, or would we want to perhaps do the post commission meeting at 9:30 on that Thursday?
The 19th.
On the 19th, and then have the informal that afternoon.
What's everybody think? We're talking about June the 19th.
Thursday is the holiday.
Yeah,
It's the informal, it's the.
Oh, Thursday is Juneteenth. Are y'all taking it on a Friday?
No, it's just a Thursday. That's the issue.
Oh, okay, so Friday's fine.
Friday's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry, I
So we need to move
misunderstood.
The informal.
We need to move the informal date.
Okay,
Just reschedule that.
so we're good June the 20th.
Yes.
All right.
Do you want to just do the afternoon of the 20th for the?
Do we have anybody, Kevin, do we have anybody on the agenda yet for June 19th for informals?
No, sir, I'm scheduled out till April. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Absolutely. We can probably just not have the informal commission hearing, and anything we schedule, we just schedule for July, or we schedule it for May.
That's an easy.
If the commission agrees.
Any other business? Oh. How about a motion to adjourn?